Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We are your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. A little later recording today. Luke had a story that he had to cover with
Yeah.
K State and having to do with the K State basketball team. He just got back from that, so he's been running around with that. Luke, how was that? And it must have been pretty crazy. And your Twitter's blowing up from the post that you had concerning
No,
the
yeah,
situation.
it was weird, man. It's like with Naquan Tomlin being suspended and President Linton just with it being supposedly President Linton's call. And yeah, 2 o'clock is a little protest. It was like 20, 30 guys, so not a ton, and it's mostly dudes. And it was kind of wild. This is in front of the president's front lawn, and then Naquan shows up. And that was kind of the tweet that I have that's kind of going out there a little bit, so that's nice. But yeah, never first experience like that. Kept me busy. I was finals about to start and stuff, and I was like, man, I got enough stuff going on. I got to get this paper. I got to get ready for finals, and I got to cover this. But very weird day. Not very weird day for K-State athletics. Colin Klein, offensive coordinator, leaves A&M. Just weird day. K-State Twitter and message boards were going nuts.
Yeah, jam-packed day for K-State athletics and a jam-packed episode today that we have for you guys. We'll be going over our Week 13 reactions, just talking about a handful of games that stood out from this week's slate in the NFL. And then we're going to talk about the AFC. We will kind of not focus on the NFC today because AFC, a lot of things happened this weekend to shape the AFC and make very interesting storylines within that conference. And then, as usual, we'll close out the episode with our week predictions for the upcoming week. So, with that, we'll start with our Week 13 reactions. The first game we'll talk about happened last Thursday. Seems like a while ago. The Cowboys survived. The Seahawks beat them 41-35, and it was an up and down game. The Cowboys had a command of the game early on, up 17-7. And Seattle was able to score before halftime and then get the ball in the second half and score again to go up 8. So it was a really interesting game. And for me, I had a lot of fantasy players in my fantasy league, and I benefited a lot from the high scoring game. But a lot of questions surrounding the Cowboys about if they can beat good teams, if they can handle their business against good teams. And Seattle, I think, is a good team. They're definitely on the downward spiral, especially their upcoming schedule, which we'll talk about when we make our predictions later. But Cowboys were able to beat Seattle. Late game blunder, I think, that could have cost them a game by throwing the ball in the end zone instead of running the ball and burning 40 more seconds off the clock. But other than that, if you're a Cowboys fan, you have to be pretty happy with how the result came and the team was able to overcome a deficit.
No, yeah, this was Seattle. I mean, I think they really missed an opportunity here. A win against the Cowboys really pushed their season forward. They're fighting for the wild card spot, but they're not. Oh, gosh, I feel like they're like. It's a weird thing with there's 4 teams really competing for those last 2 spots, and this really hurt them. And I don't know how much I trust them. It is good dropping 35 points on the Cowboys, whose defense has been great, but again. Cowboys have just beat bad teams, but they've competed against the Eagles. I mean, Seahawks are near 500 team win, but you barely won. You had to go in a shootout. So each team, I honestly, if I'm the Cowboys, I don't feel as good as I did before. I don't feel bad per se, but not as good.
Yeah, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, they've been beating up on these bad teams, like you said. And then the first team that they play that has a pretty good offense, pretty good skill position players, which you're going to see in the playoffs, they kind of got burned. And, Bland really got burnt in the first half. I believe he surrendered 118 yards. I believe it was 118 yards he surrendered in the first half guarding DK Metcalf. And JSN was even able to burn him on the almost touchdown at the end of the half, but drew a pass interference call. But if you're the Cowboys, I still don't believe in this Cowboys team that they're going to make a postseason run. Now, this upcoming week will be very telling. If they can beat the Eagles, then I may have to flip my argument. But right now, I still think if the Cowboys play against the Eagles or the 49ers in the playoffs, they're ultimately going to lose. But I think offensively, Dak has proven that, he's in the MVP conversation. He's playing well right now, and that's why I also wanted to see. He's been lining up against these bad teams, bad defenses, but then against Seattle, who has a defense that has not been playing particularly well, but there's a lot of young talent on that defense. And this game was filled with penalties, too. I thought there were so many penalties that shouldn't have been called, ticky-tack pass interferences. But I think the Cowboys, you still got the win. If you beat the Eagles, you'll have the same record as the Eagles, splitting the season series. As for Seattle, where do they kind of go? They have Philly and San Francisco coming up on their schedule, and it kind of feels like this team has kind of hit their ceiling with Geno Smith. And do you think that they may be a team that could trade up in the draft and select the quarterback?
I mean, that's always a possibility. It depends on who they like and stuff. I think definitely they have hit some type of ceiling. They're not their playoff hopes are small with their schedule. I mean, Philly, San Fran, I know there's a couple not other toughish ones. I mean, it's not easy. And again, they haven't had a great win or even a good win, I would say, since week 2 against the Lions. So they really had one good win all year. I mean, if they like a quarterback, they could be in position for a Penix or a Jaden Daniels, even though his name is really shooting up lately because, I mean, he's been great this year at LSU. But I think that this Geno Smith, it's a good story. It's a fun story. Geno Smith is a starter in this league. He has the ability to play pretty well, but there may be a ceiling here, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, when they had Russell Wilson during his prime, they sniffed around trying to get Josh Allen, trying to trade potentially Russell Wilson for the first pick and draft Josh Allen. So I think it's definitely in the cards that they trade up. What's difficult for them is when you look at the top 5 picks. So you have Chicago. They won't trade the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Second pick's New England. I don't see them trading. It's like if they can grab a quarterback that they need, they'll take it. Third pick is Arizona. They're not going to trade within the division. And then 4 is Washington, which they may need a quarterback because Sam Howell hasn't really been working out. And then 5 is Chicago. So maybe Chicago would be willing to trade from the number 5 pick. But the first 4 picks, it's going to be tough, I think, to trade up and try to get a player that you want.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's a long way from now. So,
and of course, the draft order always change too. So I could be talking about this and it could completely change.
Yeah, and they're in an interesting spot. They could either draft one or wait, and either's fine.
Mm-hmm. Next game we'll talk about, another game with huge playoff implications, the Texans and the Broncos, a game that we did not expect to have playoff importance before the year started and early on in the year. But the Texans were able to beat the Broncos. Texans were pretty much in control for most of this game, but late in the game, Broncos had a last drive to try to win the game and got all the way down to the Texans' 8-yard line. The Texans defense came up big, and they forced 3 interceptions from Russell Wilson, who a lot of people thought was playing his best football in 2 years.
Denver should have. They screwed that up. Russell Wilson did not have a fantastic game. They could have won the game. The Texans, I know they don't have a tough schedule, but they lost Tank Dell. I mean, that's, to me.
And the offense looked completely different once he was gone.
No, yeah. And he's a rookie quarterback. He's playing pretty well, but, I mean, they come up with the Jets. Obviously, the Jets are just a mess. I mean, thank goodness.
We're not even sure if Zach Wilson wants to play.
Well, no, Zach Wilson's starting.
I know but I'm saying if you want the reports
of
him.
Oh my gosh, I think he's starting. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. But that's a tough defense you have to face. And without Tank Dell, you have Nico Collins, who's good and who had a great game actually, but he was nuts. He had 9 for 191 and 2 touchdowns. That you sort of lose that next level speed and agility. So we'll see how they adjust to that. But is a good win for the Texans and just the wild card race, which that is something. That is something else. There's a lot of teams that get in there.
The Broncos, I predicted this game. I predicted that the Texans would win. The Broncos, you let Russell Wilson.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. I mean, I predicted Broncos. If Russell Wilson makes that one throw, man.
Okay, but that last play of the game, he also missed Judy wide open at the third down play where he overthrew Sutton back in the end zone. He had Judy wide open at the goal line. Would have been a walking touchdown. But Russell Wilson, he's been dinking and dunking these last few weeks, and when he's finally – now, he did make some good passes down the field, but when he finally tried to pass the ball consistently down the field, that's where you saw the interceptions come. And he's just not that player anymore where he's going to be throwing these deep passes, where he's going to be lethal from within the pocket and making these really good throws in tight coverage. He did make a couple, but it's just not going to be consistent enough. And like I said, I think the Broncos – I think they're going to lose these next 2 games after this week. And Chargers really didn't play well. So I'm not as confident as I was when I said last week that they would lose the next 3 games. But I still do believe that they lose these next 2 games. But I don't know. The huge game for Texans to get the win. And Broncos, I think their midseason surge is kind of a fluke.
I don't know if it was a fluke. I mean, the Texans are a good team, and they played bad, and they still had to play to win the game.
Yeah, but it's like when they play
for defense is good. That's a good defense.
The defense is good, but they're playing these games super tight, winning by 2 to 3 points every time.
Yeah, but I don't think fluke's the right word for when you win 5 games in a row. You got a little lucky.
You can definitely be fluky. You can definitely be fluky and win 5.
But it's not. They're not a bad team.
Steelers were 11-0. Steelers were 11-0 a few years ago when we call that fluke.
Okay, maybe, but I don't think this was a fluke per se. I just say that they got some scheduling help, but they played well in most games. I mean, they made big plays. I think that they could still – I know that – I'm trying to think of the Broncos' schedule here.
They play Chargers this week, and then –
you win that one. The Chargers they're disgusting.
I mean, yeah, they can't catch the ball right now.
If they beat Chargers, they're fine. They're fine. I think they need to win this game because then if you lose, you put Chargers back at some weird –
So their next two games, they have at Chargers, at Detroit.
Detroit. I mean, Detroit would be an upset, but Detroit's not looking fantastic. If you can hold Detroit, run the ball.
I mean, their schedule is – so this is a remaining schedule. At Chargers, at Lions, versus New England, versus Chargers, at Vegas.
That's not terrible. It's a
very doable schedule. I just don't think
they'll
be there in the end.
There's only one team better than them in that. It's the Lions.
Yeah.
They're better than Chargers. Don't even. The Chargers scored 6 points on I don't care. Scored 6 points on the Patriots.
No. I think Denver's probably better than Chargers as well. I don't think Chargers are going to drop both of these games. I see Chargers losing.
They 100% could though.
No, they could. I still think they're
You can't put any hope in anything Chargers. I think we've learned that they screw everything up. Screwing up Justin Herbert, they're a mess.
Yeah, that team is Austin Eckler's washed. Quentin Johnson looks like a bust. So the first time, can't catch. And they had a bunch of drop this past week against New England. I think they had 6 or 7 drops this past week. So, yeah, I think Denver can definitely still possibly. You can make an argument that they can make the playoffs, but I think that they come up short. And I think these next 2 games they lose. So
they have to win at least 3.
As for Texans, are they not a lock? But how confident are you that they'll be in the playoffs?
I sort of have to see what happens without Tank Dell against the Jets. I think
because these next 3 games, actually, I'll read you the remaining schedule. They've at Jets, winnable.
But I know it's winnable. Yes, it's just no Tank Dell facing a top defense.
At Tennessee, versus Cleveland, versus Tennessee, at Colts.
Cleveland Colts are tough.
I think those will be tough games, especially Colts on the road. But
Tennessee, I think you need to just hope you don't let Henry have one. I feel like you should feel good about them, but I still think this Jets game, see how the offense is done. Naquan, oh man, I'm so K-State oriented right now, man. Tank Dell, see what they are without Tank Dell. And then if they, let's say, score 24 against the Jets, and it's like the offense looks at least solid, then you should feel good.
Next game of the week, it was supposed to be the game of the week. It was supposed to be one of the best games of the week. 49ers, Eagles, and the 49ers absolutely handled business, dominating Eagles 42-19. It really felt after those 2 drives that Eagles were going to have full control of this game. Forced the San Francisco 49ers into 2 3-and-outs, held Christian McCaffrey to 0 yards in the entire first quarter, but they only were up 6-0. They couldn't take advantage and score a touchdown on at least one of those drives, putting more pressure on the 49ers. And then once the 49ers got going, they never looked back, and Eagles really had a tough time defending this, especially the pass game they struggled against.
Yeah, so remember, Niners were 5-0, and then they lose 3 straight. And everyone's like, Brock Purdy's not that good. You're here talking to me like, is Trey Lance really not going to do that much better? But that's not the point. It's a bad opinion, Logan. It's a bad opinion you had. But it's not the point. It's not the point.
No, I'm totally wrong on the Trey Lance Brock Purdy thing, but I still think Brock Purdy is. I don't think he should be the top MVP. I think he should be
basically like top 5 at minimum. I think I'd put Hurts and Dak. But I think Purdy's right. Or unless you want to put Hill in there, which I guess there's.
I think Hill should definitely be in the MVP conversation, especially if he gets 2,000 yards. He should definitely be in the MVP.
He should have gone for like 250 against Washington. They should just this secondary sucks. I can go get another 100.
Yeah, they barely played in the second half. So
they should have done it. Go get the 2K. Tyreek Hill never gets hurt. He limps off and he's fine within a minute. But the Niners are the best team in football. They're the best team.
Definitely most talented. Definitely, I think as well, best team is football.
I mean, even look back at their losses. Really shouldn't have happened. The Browns one was literally a dumb penalty or not a penalty. There
was a penalty that went against the 49ers on the Browns' last drive that should have been.
Yeah, it was on
they called it pass interference against the 49ers defense.
Yeah, it was tipped at the line or something.
And I believe it was 3rd and 10 on that play. It would have
been they would have ended it, and they missed the field goal. But they dominated the Eagles. They're the best team. Their weapons are nuts. Their weapons are staying healthy for now, which is really good, even though Debo is out a little bit. Has Kittle missed any games? I feel like he's missed at least.
I don't believe he has. He's been dealing with. I think he deals with injuries every year.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's missed any games. But what was crazy about the game? There was a tweet I saw. So Debo put up. He had 7 total touches in this game, and 2 total. He had 3 touchdowns actually. I think he had 3 touchdowns. He had rushing and 2 receiving. Yeah, he had rushing. His total air yards was 1 yard, and he had 2 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown and 100+ yards total. Debo is such a dominant player, and he's really a running back he's built like a running back that plays receiver, and he can do both. He can run out of the backfield, he can catch. Their skill position players are ridiculous. You have the best group of skill position players, and you have the best running back in the league. The one question I have with 49ers outside of Brock Purdy, because I think Brock Purdy is definitely better than I thought he was. That I'm totally wrong on that.
He definitely is better than you thought.
Yeah. But the offensive line is still something that I worry about. Outside of Trevor Williams, that offensive line is not good.
Okay, but you're just they produce. If you produce, you're something. What's Christian McCaffrey's yards per carry? I mean,
no. When McCaffrey runs to the left side, you can basically book it. He's going to pick up at least 5-6 yards.
I mean,
when he runs to Trevor Williams' side,
you just got to be like the O-line's playing well enough.
Yeah, but
I know they have Kyle Shanahan, but you're just saying this
that's just a question I have. That's just a question I have is the offensive line.
I know, but he's averaging 4.9 a carry. Debo's averaging 5.5. How many times has Purdy been sacked? He's been solidly sacked, but nothing insane. 2-1-4-2-2 1-3-1-1-2. Nothing insane. I don't see them as a question. If they're healthy, I think they're winning Super Bowl. To me, it's literally stay healthy, you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they stay healthy. I think they're definitely the best team, and I definitely think they come out of the NFC if they're completely healthy. I don't see them.
It's not the NFC, as we're going to talk about later. I mean, they're winning the Super Bowl healthy.
I don't want to say anything definite like that. That we're still in Week 14. Playoffs are still have not happened. I'm not going to say that.
Has the talent they have?
No, like I said, they're definitely the most talented team in the league right now. And like you said,
they're one of the best coached. I just don't think you can say a team's on their tier. If you do tiers, tier 1's Niners, and I don't think it's close.
I would tend to agree. As for the Eagles side, their defense definitely got exposed in this game, especially in the passing game. And their linebackers are not that great either. And you kind of saw them get exposed in the passing game. And is that something that's going to hold the Eagles back from potentially going to Super Bowl or making a deep playoff run?
I think so. This Cowboys game is interesting. You could lose the division. Lucky for them, the Cowboys have a tough schedule, but you're part of that tough schedule. So get a win, and you're doing all right. But there's definitely issues there. I think the offense is falling off a little. But
they don't run on first or second down. They're constantly throwing on. It doesn't make sense.
They maybe just gone a little pass. They're a little high on the pass, but maybe they needed a loss like this. They got lucky a lot. I'd say they probably needed a loss. I could see them going against Dallas. It's at Dallas, right?
It is at Dallas. I could definitely see Eagles
going in and just winning by 14. I could see it. I can also see them losing, but
I don't think the game's a blowout either way.
They're not as good as the Niners, and they have upset potential written on them. If you can slow down either Jalen Hurts and Swiss running game or A.J. Brown, they have upset potential.
The big thing, when I watch the Eagles, Jalen Hurts does not look right. He definitely looks a bit hobbled. His knee, it looks like he's a bit slow. He's definitely not as explosive as he was, last year. And I think that knee's been nagging him all year. And then they need Dallas Goedert back. I think A.J. Brown without Dallas Goedert was rarely doubled, if at all. And now A.J. Brown's constantly doubled. So we've seen A.J. Brown's production fall off a bit. They probably need Dallas Goedert back to open up that offense. But I don't know. The Eagles they're definitely not as good as last year, and that pass defense or secondary is definitely not good. And it was kind of a weakness last year in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, motioned and kind of exposed the defense as well. So I think Eagles have a lot of question marks, especially defensively, but I think they'll figure things out, and I think they kind of turn things around starting this week.
Yeah, it's a big week for them, but if they lose, they may be in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Next game, for us, pretty disappointing result. I had money on this, and it was my last leg of my parlay. The Packers upset the Chiefs 27-19, and the Packers thoroughly outplay the Chiefs in this one. And really, the Chiefs were not able to do anything offensively, get any rhythm. Packers score on their first two drives. First drive's 8 minutes. I think an underrated factor that nobody's really talking about is how well the Packers offensive line played. I mean, Jordan Love was orchestrating from a pretty clean pocket for most of the night, and the only sack he took was on the last drive when the Packers were burning the clock. And he smartly, instead of throwing the ball away, stopping the clock, he just fell down and took the sack so the clock continued to run. So I think Chiefs have a lot of question marks offensively, and defensively, there were some key injuries that the Chiefs had to overcome during the game that kind of hindered them as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to start with the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love looks really good right now. He looks like he could be their quarterback of the future. I don't know how good, but he looks really good. Some of those throws he made is just like, what the? Like, why? Just like, why? And then, so I think they're looking like they can go. They have an easy schedule. They're better than
the hardest game on the schedule is Tampa Bay.
No, yeah, they're better than every team they face.
Mm-hmm.
They should. I mean, it's tough to win their final 5, but win 4. If you're the Packers, you want to win 4. If you win,
if they win their final 5, is that like an 8-game winning streak that they would close the year out on? If they won
win
5,
your final 4. Win 4 of the final, or 4 of the 5. Win 4 of the 5. I think would be the goal. 3 would be like fine, but kind of disappointing. But they're legit. I mean, they have this talent, and it looks like it's finally coming together. They have the defense talent. Jair didn't play, but that doesn't even matter against the Chiefs. It doesn't matter about Jair. You can throw out whatever cornerbacks you want against the Chiefs.
That's not true. Chargers.
The Chargers.
Okay, but let's not say you throw out whatever.
You can basically throw out whatever, Logan. The Chargers are just bad. They're just bad. I don't count the Chargers. I think we've said this. The Chargers don't count when you consider any logic. They have none. They're not. It doesn't count. They're a mess. But then look at the Chiefs. I mean, not a single play, at least in my recollection, thrown to receiver was like past 5 yards on script.
It was all designed.
Like the one that was past 5 yards was to Rashee Rice, but Mahomes scrambled and Rice just kept running along, and just like they can't get open. I think it's simple. Packers offense played well. Chiefs had some injuries, but Packers offense played well. It's just one of those games. So I don't really take anything away from that defensive side. They've been really good. You're allowed to have a couple non-A-plus games. But the offense is a mess. No one gets open. Travis Kelce, he's still pretty good, but something looks a little off in my opinion.
He's definitely lost a step.
He's hobbling. He looks like every run. I mean, I could really see a retirement. I could see it.
Yeah, the Chiefs. It's very concerning about the Chiefs right now because everybody was like, after they dropped 31 on the Raiders, they're like, oh, the offense has figured it out. But the Chiefs always, even the year where they were struggling a little bit offensively, and I think they scored a total of like 73 points against the Raiders in 2 meetings. And everybody's like, oh, their offense is back on track. But it still took them a few weeks after that to figure things out. when you have Patrick Mahomes, you can definitely straighten things out. But I don't know. What I don't understand with this offense is whenever a receiver does make a play or just makes a catch and creates some yards, they take that player out on the following play, which I do not understand at all. And they need to shorten this receiver rotation. They need to be.
Sky Moore needs to be off the rotation.
The Chiefs are playing 6 to 7 receivers. Just play your most talented guys and see if they can get some rhythm. And that's not even a given that that's going to happen. But let's play Tony, Rice, and I guess if you want to play MVS.
I don't know.
But
it's a mess. You're not solving it.
I'm not saying you're solving, but I'm saying you at least have to try to make it better by not. You're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over.
Sky Moore just should not be on the field.
Yeah, you're not.
Like I think on that one, everyone could agree that like Sky Moore should not be on the field.
No, and it looks like he slows down on his route, and of course Patrick Mahomes is going to take all the blame, which maybe it was Patrick Mahomes' fault. Mahomes and these receivers have not been on the same page all year.
Not at all.
And it's just very weird because, this is basically the same receiver core as last year. Just you're substituting Rashee Rice in for Juju.
Well, Juju could get open down the field.
Yeah, so
I like Rice, but Rice doesn't get open down the field. I think people what all Rice does is catch these screens. I like Rice, but he just catches screens, man. That's all he does. He can't get open on man down the field. No one can. Tony just gets hurt all the flipping time. I think it's a mess. I don't see a bright future with it, at least this year. I don't see how you fix it.
I think this offseason you're going to see. I think the Chiefs sign a receiver in free agency and they go draft one first round. I think the Chiefs have to go all in on receiver this offseason. You've used all this draft capital on defense. Maybe you go get offensive lineman. Your tackles are pretty weak. And Donovan Smith got hurt in this game. Which if Donovan Smith gets hurt, you're playing pretty bad left tackle. So I think the Chiefs have a lot to figure out. And Packers, they're surging right now, and I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs when that time comes. And if you're a Packers fan, you have to be pretty optimistic about this team and about this. They're the youngest offense and youngest roster in the league, and they're figuring these. They had Aaron Rodgers last year, who didn't have the patience to play with these young receivers and let them develop. And now you're seeing with Jordan Love, who's also trying to develop.
Christian Watson got stuff last year. I don't think that's accurate. Christian Watson looked much better last year than this year.
Okay, but he's also still. You could definitely say Rodgers was not patient enough to deal with the receivers developing. That was a storyline last year.
Yeah, but they're also a year older, and Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed's very good.
Jaden Reed's nice. Love looks really good. Love looks really good. I still think Rodgers, I'm not going to blame him for last year. So it's just sort of sometimes you just need to switch. But if I'm the Chiefs, back to Chiefs and Packers, it's full a plot. They look good. I wouldn't want to. It's like Packers Lions first round. It's like I don't know, probably Lions, but that's upset material.
And then people want to complain about that pass interference penalty at the end. Which it was a missed call, but they also missed a call with Mahomes right out of bounds, not even being out of bounds yet.
It's not.
That's not why the Chiefs lost. Yeah, the Chiefs did not lose because of one call. They didn't even deserve to win. If Chiefs got that call and ended up scoring, getting a 2-point conversion, and then ultimately winning in overtime, it'd be I'll take it. But it's not. It would not feel like a good win. The Packers outplayed the Chiefs in every facet of the game. So I thought the Packers deserved the win. It's a disappointing loss for the Chiefs, especially. With AFC kind of falling apart, which we'll talk about here in a couple of minutes, but you got to give Packers all the credit.
And you got to Pacheco needs 20-something carries a game. Just go right up the middle. Just change the offense.
I actually love, and I'm not anti-Jerick McKinnon, but when Jerick McKinnon's healthy, they do not play Pacheco on third down, which that just always frustrates me. He had 5 catches for 34. He had 5 targets, 5 catches. He can catch the ball. And when McKinnon's been out the last 2 games and Pacheco's been dominant, they have to continue to play Pacheco. And I think he is a 3-down back. You can use him on 3 downs.
Agreed.
So
I agree.
He needs to be getting 20-plus carries, especially if this offense had still Tyreek Hill and it was as explosive as it was 3 years ago, then I want to give Pacheco 20 carries a game. But you need the running game to work, and I think Pacheco definitely deserves 20-plus carries a game.
No, he's the most productive player on the offense. I think the offense needs to be Pacheco-centric going forward, or it's just you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Last game that we'll talk about, and really a surprising game. I was not expecting this game to be really this close. The Jaguars at one point were -8.5, and then they moved up to -10. So the Cincinnati Bengals were able to go into Jacksonville, upset the Jaguars 34-31. Trevor Lawrence suffers a high ankle sprain, which when it happened at the time, it did not look good. And the fact that they didn't bring a card out for him was something that kind of puzzled me. It's your franchise quarterback, and you're having him walk all the way to the locker room. And then one of the people carrying him is not even a coach; it's a security guard. Like
it's like, what the hell are you doing? Still the Jaguars. Still the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess. But it's weird. I oddly feel slightly. Maybe it's because the AFC is so bad. I guess to talk about it, the Jags' chances. I think they're a better team than I thought they were. I mean, Bengals are a good defense, and
the Bengals have not been a good defense the last few weeks. They have not been.
I mean, you face the Texans and they face the
like Pittsburgh last week they gave up 400 yards too.
True, but still the Bengals have talent and the Jaguars have looked better. And I know it's a tough loss. The defense kind of got. Sometimes that happens. Like Jamar just made some plays and Zach Taylor. Give it up for Zach Taylor. That was a great game. But I still don't feel bad about the Jags. Oddly enough, it's a weird feeling I got because I think it's partially also with the AFC just being a mess. Because Trevor looks really good, and Beathard is good enough to – they face Browns. Beathard can win that game. Beathard can go beat the Browns. But then on the Bengals side, I mean, they're right back in it. Sometimes you just got to let quarterbacks be. I hate when backup quarterbacks come in, and they're just like, hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off. Don't do anything. Don't try to be good. It's like you're in the NFL for a reason. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So good props to them. They make the wild card so much more interesting.
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think this result and how Jake Browning played, should the Bengals feel any regret for putting Joe Burrow out there in the beginning of the year when he was dealing with the calf injury? Do you think they should have put Jake Browning? I mean, that was a conversation. Do they sit Burrow for the beginning of the year?
I think they should have.
Because Jake Browning, he's definitely a serviceable quarterback, and he played fantastic on Monday night.
That's not what I thought you were going to ask.
No, what do you think I was going to ask?
I'm just not. I didn't even think about that. That never popped into my head. I mean, yeah, I would have just sat him out anyways. But yeah, Browning's a serviceable back. I think it just shows that when you have a good team and a good system, a lot of quarterbacks.
Those receivers, you could put a lot of quarterbacks in that system with those receivers, and they would look really good. No, you're throwing Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You have Joe Mixon in the backfield, and Tyler Boyd's your number 3 receiver. I know they had him playing quarterback that one play, which
that was terrible.
As a receiver, sometimes you have to know this play's not going to work. I'm not going to throw this.
Boyd's had a little bit of a tough year with that flop against the Texans.
Yeah, but you are still on Jaguars. It's tough because you lose Trevor Lawrence.
It's also that the AFC is weak.
No. I get that, but Trevor Lawrence, they're saying he may play this week. He's not playing this week.
But you really beat the Browns with Beathard.
Okay, I do think that, but you're not going to put your franchise quarterback on a high ankle sprain in Cleveland against that defense. You're not doing it.
I mean, yeah, I'd probably still.
And then Christian Kirk, he'll be out. They look
fine without him, though. They look fine without him, though. I think Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley's playing better. If right now, what AFC quarterback? Honestly, past few weeks, when I just watch Trevor Lawrence is making throws, and I think Beathard can hold the fort down. Lawrence, if you get maybe in the playoffs, obviously he's not the best. Mahomes is the best, but Mahomes isn't playing like the best at all. He may have bad receivers, but he's also not playing well. Trevor be a serious issue for teams. I have this Trevor feeling.
The thing with Jacksonville, it's not. I don't really have many questions about Trevor Lawrence. There's just when I watch Jacksonville in general, I'm not even talking about Monday night, but in general, there just seems to be something missing. I can't put my finger on, but there's just something missing. I don't know if they're, a player or two here and there away from really being a threat. Because when you think of Jacksonville, I still don't think that they're Super Bowl contenders. And I know this year that may be different because AFC is as weak as it is. But Jacksonville, just in general, they don't feel like a true Super Bowl contender.
Not going to like my opinion later. But I think they're like a star defensive secondary player away.
And what's tough is Josh Allen, their pass rusher. I mean, he's been having. I think he has. Does he have 16 sacks this year? It's 15 or 16, I believe.
No
He's.
way.
It's something crazy. I think it's, and I may be wrong. You can look it up real quick.
I'm looking it up real quick.
But I don't think they're going to be able to pay. I think somebody on the market is
they'll
going to
figure it out. Again, didn't I explain this to you the other night, man? They'll just front load contracts or backload contracts, and they have a ton of space left off. They'll backload them. I think they'll be fine. Teams figure this out, Logan. Teams figure it out. How often do you see teams literally like not be able to pay someone?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if they somehow lost him, and then Traylon Walker has not been the player that many thought he would be. Many had him as a top 3 pick regardless if he went 1 or 2. I don't know, Jacksonville, there's just something missing there. And then Bengals, what's going to be I think what's going to happen is I think the Bengals are going to they may claw their way back into this playoff race. In week 17, they face the Chiefs on New Year's Eve. I think that game could be if they lose, they're out. And if they win, they could be playing a win or go home game week 18. So I think that could definitely be a big storyline week 17, which is a few weeks away. But I do think that could be a storyline.
I think they're going to be fine. I like the Jags. I think they'll be fine. Bengals, on the Bengals side, I think it's interesting because now they add like another wild card.
That's what I'm saying. I think week 17, they could still be in the playoff race. And
I got them mixed up. You talked about – I got them mixed up. I was looking at the stats, and I got mixed up. But, yes, I like what I was saying. I got all mixed up in the stats. The Bengals – this playoff is so weird. There's, like, some world where it's, like, Bengals, Bills sneak in. And then I don't even know.
As a Chiefs fan, that's a problem. I do not want that.
No, you don't. No one. I don't think – dude, anyone. I think it could be – the playoffs, and you're looking at Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens, Jags, and then it's Texans, Bills, Bengals, and you're just like, anyone, just go get it. Whoever plays best for 2 or 3 weeks. It's interesting. I'm excited for it, honestly. When I take away my Chiefs fandom, a part of it, where it's like, oh my gosh, this would be such an easy year. It's like this could be fun. Could be fun.
And that kind of carries over right to our next conversation. Who is the best team / best contender in the AFC? Right now, the Dolphins are the 1 seed. Ravens are a 2 seed with the same record. Who do you see as the best team in the AFC, and who do you believe in the most in the AFC?
I feel like it has to be one of those 2 teams. And you sort of, you go to the Ravens. They have a similar problem to the Chiefs, where it's like
their teams are very similar. They are very similar teams right now.
But the Ravens have this thing where their quarterback is fast as hell. That helps a lot. And their defense is probably better. It's more talented, at least.
There's more high-end talent. Because the Chiefs are a very good unit, but still a lot of young players. They're still figuring things out.
So it's such a tough question. Then Miami. Like, if you look at it logically, it should be Miami. But then you just sort of take into account they haven't done it yet.
They also haven't beat anybody good.
No, yeah, that too. They haven't beat anyone good.
You could make the argument their best win of the year is against Denver.
No, that's not good.
that's their best win.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess, but at the same time, well, did they beat? No, Buffalo beat them.
Buffalo beat them by 28, 48-20.
Oh, yeah, Buffalo. Dude, if Buffalo makes the playoffs, I'd probably pick them to make the Super Bowl. Or, no, okay, here's my gut.
There's been way too many injuries on that defense, and there's been so much turmoil on that team. I don't see it turning around, to be honest with you.
I think it could turn around. You beat the Chiefs and you beat the Cowboys, which are both very beatable.
Okay, if they lose this week.
Well, yeah, if you can't lose, you got to win this week. You got to win.
Okay.
You got to win. Or you can lose and then beat Dallas, but you probably want to win this week, and that's even bigger with the Chiefs, of course. But and then as I was talking, I have this weird feeling Jacksonville's going to make the Super Bowl. And then they go against the Niners, and the Niners blitz them and just shoot them out of the water. I have a weird gut feel. Man. I feel
right now. If you ask me who the best team in the AFC is and who is the best contender, I have a hard time believing in Miami. Even though they've been prolific on offense, I still have a hard time. I'd probably say Ravens right now. Ravens, I think, between those 2 teams, because
Ravens are the most trustworthy right now.
Well, that's what's sad. That's a crazy thing. When you look at the AFC, because I don't know if that's why I said right now. Right now, I would say Ravens, but I don't trust them in the playoffs. I still think the Chiefs end up making the Super Bowl, and it may be ugly, and I may be absolutely wrong. I can see them losing divisional round, but I can also see them winning Super Bowl. And you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Andy Reid. I'm gonna trust those two. They've been to 5 straight AFC Championship games for a reason. But right now, if you ask me today, I think Baltimore's the best team in the AFC. I think Miami, when you look at Miami, I still don't trust Tua. Defensively, they've actually been playing very well, but I don't think when you play in cold weather, you're not going to make playoffs.
What if they're the 1 seed?
Well, yeah, if they're the 1 seed, you can play at home.
Yeah, so that's huge. That's huge. So
what's going to be a huge game potentially is Miami at Baltimore in Week 17.
No, yeah,
that could be winner. That could be the 1 seed, and winner could be the 2 or the 3 or possibly the 4. I mean, I don't think you can rule out the Chiefs or Jaguars of keep rattling off wins and putting pressure on these two teams to not lose a game or two. So
it's completely open.
Oh, it's wide open. But right now, I would probably say Baltimore, even though I don't trust in Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, and I don't know about this receiving core. But I think right now they have the best defense in the AFC that's in the playoffs right now. That's contending for a Super Bowl. So my choice right now would be Baltimore.
No, I think they're the one you can trust the most. If Miami can get the 1 seed, I think at that point you got to pick them to go to the Super Bowl. Even if they're the 2 seed, and let's say Baltimore's the 1, then you're just like, okay, someone beat Baltimore, and then we're still at home. So that's huge. That's huge. But could you imagine a 2-7 Miami Buffalo? Because if Buffalo makes the playoffs, Logan, if they make the playoffs, that means that they played really well to end the year. That means Josh is feeling it.
I know, but if you're playing, let's say that is what you said is what ends up what happens. Buffalo. Well, I think Buffalo plays Miami in Miami in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of. But I don't know if Buffalo can stop Miami's offense in Miami. I don't know.
It wasn't like it was cold in Buffalo when they faced the first time.
No, but I'm saying, Buffalo played Skylar Thompson and won by 7.
Playoffs. They face Miami. They face Chiefs. They face Cowboys.
They face Chargers and Patriots.
Patriots.
That's their fun 5.
That's a tough schedule. If they make the playoffs, they are playing great football. Still a quarterback who's one of the best, who at that point you may trust the most because Mahomes is just not.
Would they necessarily be playing? You clearly don't think the Chiefs are that good.
That they're playing
No, because here's the thing. The teams they're playing, you don't need to be great to beat the Patriots. You are not very high on the Chiefs right now. So do you think that you have to play great against the Chiefs?
You have to win 4, so you have to win
Chargers,
3.
You don't have to play great.
But
you don't necessarily have to be playing great and winning these games, is my point.
But you have to beat Cowboys and Miami. If you win 4 out of 5 of those, I think you're playing good football still because football, anyone can still win. So if you win 4 out of 5 with 3 of the teams being good teams, the Chiefs are a disaster, but they're still the Chiefs and still a good team. If you win 4 out of 5 of those, you're playing good football. And
I think great. I think that's
good. Great doesn't flipping matter, Logan. It's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is if they make the playoffs, they are going to be the most dangerous team. No one's going to want to face Buffalo. If they're running a real offense and you got Josh Allen going, man, I don't know. In this year, they could just walk
They're
their way.
definitely the most dangerous team that's out on the outside looking in.
I don't think it's
I think the most dangerous.
I think their potential as a team in the AFC is the highest. And I don't think that's close either, maybe with Miami. But I think if everyone's playing at their best, Buffalo's making the Super Bowl.
I'd probably lean Miami if everybody's playing there. Well, actually, I'd probably say if everyone's playing their best.
Because we can't play offense even at our best. Who are we going up against? No one.
I don't know. I'd probably say if they're playing their best, it's probably still Miami or Baltimore, I would think. Especially if Miami has the 1 seed, that'd probably be, if they're playing their best, that'd probably be my pick to go.
No, I like Josh Allen more than Tua and Lamar. And
I mean, yeah, quarterback plays huge in the playoffs.
And they still have talent. They still have plenty of talent on defense.
Is there anything else you want to say before we move on to our Week 14 predictions?
I don't know. Let me just take a little look-see at the AFC here. Is there anyone else who's kind of – no, yeah. Gosh, it's so If Houston had Tank Dell, maybe they'd have a shot, but I still wouldn't pick a rookie.
I'm not picking a rookie to go Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's gonna be
If you look
good.
at rookies in their first playoff game, I think they lose almost every time. Like
There's a
rookie quarterbacks.
chance. Like, hold up. There's a quick chance. I guess there's no way Pittsburgh loses to if Pittsburgh loses New England. But let's just say the unimaginable happens. New England pulls off some BS. And like Mitch is terrible. Jacksonville beats Cleveland. Who the Colts face?
Colts face it. They're at Cincinnati.
Colts. Cincy beats Colts. Houston loses to Jets. Because I think that one's very possible.
You're picking
I'm not picking everyone. Okay, but New England Jets, but again, you see it. And then Buffalo beats Chiefs. There's a chance there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 7-way tie, record-wise, wild card. Probably won't happen. Pittsburgh.
No, the wild card race right now.
Or at least there can be like a 5-way tie, record-wise, for that third spot.
What's tough for Cincinnati? They're 2-6 in the conference. It's going to be tough for them to have any tiebreaker over anybody. So I still think Bengals are going to have a tough time, but they could still do it if they rattle off some wins.
Yeah, it's so weird, but it's fun. It's fun. Thank God the Chiefs won some Super Bowls, because I'd be so pissed if they hadn't won yet, and then they're doing this.
Well, yeah, I don't think they'd have this team. They probably still have Tyreek Hill if they hadn't won yet. They wouldn't have traded Tyreek Hill if they hadn't won. So
probably, yeah.
Are you ready to move on to our Week 14 predictions?
Yes, we shall.
First game of the week. I wish this game was blacked out. I wish they didn't show this game on TV. Or I wish I still have Amazon Prime to watch it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I'm in a meeting, man.
I'd rather be in your meeting this week than watch this game, to be quite frank with you. Patriots at Steelers. Steelers 6-point favorites.
Yeah, I think Steelers win. I mean, maybe Mitch Trubisky's horrific, and the Patriots. I mean, I don't even think they have Ramondre Stevenson now.
Stevenson's out.
Oh, which reminds me, I'll put him on our IR right now and keep her. But yes, Steelers. I mean, the Patriots.
The over/under in this game is 30.
No, yeah, I just saw that. That's so low.
I'm going to answer the question with one word: Steelers. I'm not going to go to.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. Next
game, a pretty big game for playoffs. Buccaneers at Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 1.5.
You know, with my own personal things, which I've discussed, I don't want to watch the Falcons at all. It's terrible. But I'm going to take the Falcons. They have some momentum. Tampa is still like,
I mean, they won by 3 last week against Carolina.
You know, and
they need a 75-yard touchdown from Mike Evans to.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons.
I'll take the Falcons as well. I think they're more talented, and I think their defense is playing well. And I think they're just going to run the ball a lot in this game. And Desmond Ridder has to make a few throws here and there, just manage the game. And I think if he does that, they win this game. Next game, Lions at Bears. Still shocked by this line. I know Lions have kind of been struggling lately, but the Lions are favored by 3.5.
Bears haven't been terrible.
Their defense is actually, ever since they got Montez Sweat, that defense has actually been looking pretty good.
Not bad. It's not bad. I'll stick with Lions, though. I still trust in them. I know they're struggling, and I don't think the line's a bad line because of their struggles. But, I mean, they were whooping the Saints, and then they just kind of blew it. I feel like they're not a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. They're, like, right outside. But I think they're going to kick into gear a little bit, and I think that starts with a solid win against the Bears.
Yeah, I think Lions win as well. I think as long as Jared Goff takes care of the football in this one, I think the Lions should have no problem moving the ball. And then Justin Fields is always primed to have a turnover or two. So I think the Lions should win this game. I think they do. Next game, we talked about this game earlier. Colts at Bengals. Colts are favored by 1.
Colts have been very lucky lately. That defense is not good.
And you could run on them. Like
Nixon looked good against the Jags. Like he didn't just do well. He looked. I like the Bengals, man. I think I saw enough from Browning. It's like, dude, just give it to Chase, and Higgins had a couple nice plays in a row. I like the Bengals, man. I just don't see the Colts really stopping them. And then the Bengals still have the defensive talent to where Minshew, he's been nice, but he still hasn't been.
He doesn't play that he doesn't play that well
He
on the
makes
road.
2 nice throws, and then he just does a couple dumb things. I like Minshew, but I like Bengals, and I think it's gonna get real spicy.
Before Monday night's game, I was telling you that I think the Bengals could win this game, and they're at plus 2.5 on Tuesday morning, and I was about to bet them. I didn't do it. I agree with you. I'm totally on board with you. I think Bengals win this one. I think they're going to be able to run the ball all over the Colts defense, and I think the fact that's at Cincinnati, I think this defense is going to play really well. I think Minshew's going to have 1 to 2 turnovers that are going to cost the Colts in this game, and I think the Bengals really offensively, because John Taylor's not there, Zach Moss isn't as explosive. You really only have to worry about Michael Pittman if you're the Bengals defense. So I think Bengals win this one, and I think they could easily win by 8 to 10 points in this one. I think they could control this game.
Yeah, I think it's a letdown week for Indy.
Next game, Jaguars at Browns. Since Trevor Lawrence, we don't know if he will be playing. The Browns are favored by 3.
Again, as I was saying, I like the Jags, so I think this pick should be pretty obvious. I'm going with Jacksonville. The Browns lost by Joe Flacco wasn't bad, but he's still Joe Flacco. But you always love to see Joe Flacco back. But I liked enough what I saw from Beathard. I like the Jags' weapons. I mean, the Rams they didn't run the ball as well as they could have. But they sort of had their way, I guess.
To be honest, if Cleveland doesn't miss an extra point, I don't know if Rams win that game. I think Browns could easily win that game.
The Rams aren't that good either, though. Puka got hurt. He came back, but
he has an AC joint sprain.
Yeah, didn't Cooper Kupp also get hurt mid-game, or am I wrong? Or was that last week?
That was last week.
But so he's not. I don't see the Browns winning. I like what I saw from the Jags. I think this will be a tough win, but I like Jacksonville here.
I think it's gonna be a pretty ugly game, especially if Trevor's out, and Cleveland's defense at home is ridiculously good.
Mm-hmm.
But so you have Trevor and Christian Kirk missing, but then you're probably going to have Amari Cooper and Denzel Ward missing. And I don't know. Denzel Ward's missed the last 2 weeks. Amari Cooper suffered a concussion this past week. I don't think either player plays. So I probably will edge Jacksonville because of Browns' lack of weapons. But I think it's going to be an ugly game. I don't plan on watching much of this game unless it's close at the end. But I think Jacksonville also wins this game. Next
one.
Yeah. Next game, Panthers at Saints. The Saints are favored by 5.5. Don't do it.
Carr or Winston playing? Who's playing?
Oh my God, he's gonna do it. It's Winston, I'm pretty sure. Carr's had two concussions in 3 weeks. He's not gonna play. Don't do. You did this last week. You did this Luke. You did this last week, man.
Panthers are gonna win a game here soon.
Stop.
We'll win a game here soon. And the Saints suck.
Luke, you can't go back. No, if you choose, we have to make a rule. If you choose Carolina, you can't choose Carolina back-to-back weeks.
That's not how it works, Logan. You choose whoever.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna need a new host. Luke is going to be official after you. No, I'm not. Pick the Saints.
Carolina.
God. Okay, I'm not even gonna explain. Okay, I'm gonna take Saints in this one. Oh my God! The Panthers have done nothing.
Tampa's better than New Orleans.
I don't know. I think they're both bad.
Everyone loves to talk about Jameis, but Jameis is going to do something stupid.
Okay, but you just have Taysom Hill run, or you check down to Kamara.
You think Jameis is just going to check down all day?
He did a little bit when he came in.
And he ain't shit throwing a pick. He got a lucky touchdown. That was so stupid.
No, it wasn't a touchdown. What are you talking about?
That should have been a pick. That should have been a pick. And Chris Olave got down. But
Olave's on my fantasy team.
Oh, shut up. Your team's amazing.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm so happy, and I don't wish for injury. I'm so happy James is playing. He's finally going to throw the ball at Chris Olave, and I don't have to watch Chris Olave get tackled.
I don't need to hear your fantasy. I don't need to hear it.
Well, you trade McCaffrey. That's dumb. I think Saints win this one.
I would still have missed the playoffs with McCaffrey, Logan.
I'm not too sure about that.
Yes,
Next
I
game.
want that.
Next game. Texans at Jets. Texans favored. Oh, they're favored by 4 now. It was 6 yesterday.
Dude, that's what I'm telling you. Well, I think also Zach Wilson playing, oddly enough, helps.
That is so pathetic. That Zach Wilson playing moves the board 2 points because of how bad their quarterbacks are.
This would be such an awesome Zach Wilson win. I am cheering for a Jets win. I think that'd be awesome.
No.
I'm not picking them. I said cheering, Logan. I think it'd be funny. I do think it'll be close. If we're at 6 points still, I'd be
if the Texans had Tank Dell, because I think
they don't have Tank Dell. That's the point. They don't have Tank Dell.
Well, no, I know.
I think it'll be close, but I can't pick the Jets.
Yeah, better quarterback in the game. Texans win this one, and it may be like what you said.
That was insightful. Better quarterback. Wow.
Well, I said Stroud was better than Mayfield when they played, and apparently that had to be insightful because
Stroud went off. It's not like Stroud's been unholy. He hasn't. He went off against Tampa and Bengals, and he really hasn't had a good game since.
I know, but I was called dumb for saying Stroud's better than Mayfield.
He's still not that much better than Mayfield. He's not doing a lot, Logan. I'm not saying Baker's great. Stroud's good, not great at the moment, but Stroud will be great. He will be great.
Okay. At least you said that. Okay. Next game, Rams at Ravens. Ravens are favored by 7.
I don't trust the Rams, even though I like the Rams to potentially make the wild card. The Ravens are a good team, unless they just. I think the one fear is Cooper Kupp, Puka, Kyra. You just can't let them break like multiple big plays.
Cooper Kupp, I'm not saying he's washed or he's lost a step, but he's definitely not healthy.
Hurt. Yeah,
he's not. And he's not. This game's gonna be a blowout. Lamar Jackson destroys NFC teams. I mean, he made the Lions look like 2007 Lions, or I guess any Lions team up to last year. They are going to easily. I think they win this game by at least 14.
As long as they don't allow the big play, they should win comfortably.
Yeah, I think Baltimore dominates this game, especially in Baltimore. I think Rams don't have a chance. Next game, Vikings at Raiders. Vikings -3.
You want to go first? I have no clue, man.
I'm gonna take Raiders.
I'll go first. Who'd you say?
I said Raiders.
Okay, that's what I was just gonna. Then Jefferson's back, man. It's tough. Yeah, I'm going Vikings.
The Josh Dobbs honeymoon is over.
I'm not saying that he's going to play great.
Into a pumpkin. 4 picks against Chicago.
Logan, you need to be rooting for Dobbs because he may be crucial for our dynasty team. So
Jake Browning all day.
But Jake Browning's not going to have 5 straight good weeks, Logan. If we want a title, Dobbs, man.
Dobbs isn't either. Dobbs will not have 5 straight weeks.
He just needs like 1 or 2. That's what I'm saying. They need to split him up. Don't disrespect him. He's the pastronaut. I have Vikings.
Think about this.
I have Vikings. I wouldn't touch it with a million.
Well, I wouldn't touch it either. I'm not betting this game, but I think
it could be a really good game, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, it could be oddly good.
I mean, Raiders. The last time we saw Raiders, they were up 14-0 on a really good Chiefs.
Okay, but then they couldn't do jack diddly.
I know, but I don't think the Vikings are going to drop. And Vikings don't have the defense of the Chiefs. All the Vikings really do defensively is they blitz.
Which they didn't do against Justin Fields, which was like the dumbest thing on God's green earth.
No, but then they did blitz him like on a 4th and 10.
But they didn't do it at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think Raiders win this one. I trust their coaching.
I think
Raiders win.
Give me Dobbs over O'Connell, and that's why I'm picking it.
Okay. Next game, Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco -10.5, which that line it was at -13 or -12.5, I believe. So
I have San Fran. I almost said Seattle. San Fran. I mean, as I talked about, one of the best teams in the league. I don't have much now. They're better.
Yeah, I have San Fran as well. I think they cover. They beat the.
It's a lot of points.
Huh?
It's a lot of points for a divisional game.
Mm-hmm. But still, no. But they beat Seattle by 18 in Seattle.
I know, but it's still a lot of points for them to do twice. But I like San Francisco. They'll win. They'll win just fine.
Next game, Broncos at the Chargers. Chargers 3-point favorites.
Another one. I'm going to go
The easy and tough.
Broncos. I don't – if Josh – so you said Josh Palmer –
I believe he's off the. I believe his
but
IR.
he just may be on the IR to practice thing.
They need Palmer. They
If
need
Palmer,
okay. If he doesn't play this game,
no, he's a limited participant Wednesday after being designated to return from IR. He has a 21-day window.
If he practices,
I'm gonna take Broncos. I think that they left some stuff out on the field. I think they have more to play for. I think the defense is better. I think the offenses are close because of how bad the Chargers' weapons are.
I think both teams have equally the same amount to play for.
No.
Chargers players and coaches are playing.
I know, but the Broncos have a playoff thing, and that just adds a little more. I think Russell Wilson's gonna be a little like. I think he probably knows he blew the game. Give me Broncos.
I don't see Broncos sweeping this series, this season series. I think they win in a few weeks at home against Chargers. I think Chargers win this game, and it could definitely, be a really bad pick by myself. But I do think Chargers end up winning this game, but I don't know. It's definitely not a confident pick, but
I feel solid about the Broncos.
Next game, Sunday night game. I think it should be the best game of the week. Eagles at Cowboys. And this line has moved as well. Cowboys now -3.5. It was -3 yesterday.
I like the Eagles here. I think it's a good game. I just, I still don't fully trust the Cowboys, and I think the Eagles probably needed to just get destroyed by the team. So, honestly, may have been perfect timing just for the Niners to punch them in the mouth. I like Eagles, but it's a pick 'em, but I like Eagles. I see Eagles winning this game in my head. I just see it in my head. Jalen Hurts, big game. If the Cowboys win this game, Dak is right there for MVP. He already is.
I think Dak should be the MVP favorite right now. And if they win this game, he will be the clear MVP favorite.
I don't think it'll be clear.
I think if you beat the Eagles and now you're 10-3 and you've been playing this well.
Brock Purdy just beat the Eagles. I think it'll be between him and Brock. I think he pushes Hurts to the third spot solidly, where it's like just.
We're going to get the same argument that we always get. I still think because we know.
My opinion. MVP argument is who's going to. Some people probably just won't vote for Purdy no matter what, and there's probably some people also won't vote for Dak no matter what, and so those votes will go to Jalen Hurts. But between those two, Logan, it'll be a true 50-50. Because again, Purdy has better wins.
I know it, but if Cowboys somehow won the division,
no, I think
it'd be Dak.
I think he would have won MVP, but clearly is not the word you should use in front of MVP. Not clearly.
I think, with that being said, I do think Eagles win this game, and I actually love the value of betting.
No, I have them in a parlay.
I think Eagles win this game. Seattle. This Cowboys defense was only beating up on really bad teams, but once they played a team with good offensive weapons, they got 35 dropped on them. I think this could easily be another one of those games where both teams are scoring 30+. But I think I'm going to give the coaching side, I'm going to give the Eagles side, and I trust Jalen Hurts in the clutch more than I do with Dak. Even though Dak's been playing great, I still trust Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in general in the clutch. So if it's a close game late, I take the Eagles.
That's why I'm riding with the Eagles, yes. This
week we have 2 Monday night games. The first one that we'll talk about, Titans at Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 13.5.
We're talking about this one, or are we not just each going to pick the Dolphins?
Okay,
the Dolphins are much better. They whooped the Washington. I guess Titans compete against the Colts, but
Colts aren't like a
and they're fine.
I'll take Dolphins as well. I always hate betting spreads, especially spreads like this one, but Dolphins could very well likely cover this
one. Big spread.
Mm-hmm. I think Dolphins cover, though. Last game of the week, Packers at Giants. These Monday night games this week are not good. Packers favored by 6.5.
I think Giants cover, but I got Packers winning. I think I like the Giants to cover.
I think Packers. I think they win and cover, and maybe it's a letdown game.
Favorite to cover. If you don't have the underdog winning, you're always picking the favorite to cover.
That's not true at all. I just said I don't know if I'll take the Dolphins covering.
You made it sound like you would, though, in the end.
these lines this week, like I don't know. I pick Steelers. I don't know if they cover. That could be a very ugly game.
I hope that's I mean, I think Giants covered. Tommy DeVito's not looking bad. Jalen Hyatt.
Packers can very well likely not play as well as they did last week. It could be a letdown game, but I still think they win.
No, yes, I think Packers win. DeVito would have to have his best game yet.
Well, anything else you would like to talk about before we close out today's episode?
No, go Cats. Hopefully K-State figures out what the hell's going on. It's weird times here. We have the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's awesome. Going to a Pop-Tart Bowl. It's what called the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so happy.
Anything else, or are you done with your Pop-Tart Bowl shenanigans?
Pop-Tarts Bowl? Pop-Tarts Bowl? Not tarts.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for our episode this week. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And like I say every week, you can always leave comments of things you want to talk about. But with that, we'll be back next week. Similar topics, and we'll see you then.
Peace.